Have you ever thought to yourself, how, 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 how am I supposed to afford a house with this job? How am I supposed to afford a nice car with this job, with this house? How am I supposed to put my family, myself, in the best financial position that we could be in with this job, with this paycheck? How? And that's a question I've had for many, many years. And if you're anything like me, you thought about it too. And so today I'm going to give you the secret sauce, the secret recipe, right? So I'm from South Louisiana. We have this thing called gumbo, and everyone does gumbo differently. So some folks are going to add just a little more salt. Some's going to add a little more seasoning. Some's going to add a little more of Tony Chachere's, right? Somebody's going to add a little more of this, a little more of that, a little more butter, a little more okra, a little more seafood. Everybody's got their own special ingredients. And listen, everybody's gumbo is great, right? So it just depends on your preference, but let them tell it it's the best gumbo in the world. And so I want to give you my financial gumbo when it comes to buying things that I consider to be liabilities. Now, the first thing we need to find out is, what is ACL? What does ACL, the acronym ACL, represent? And so I'll tell you right now. So the A, and for everyone who's new to the channel, come on in. If you don't mind, stick around, watch as many videos as you like, share the channel with someone else, and smash the subscribe. Welcome to the club. And then smash the thumbs up. If you hit subscribe, if you've already subscribed to this channel, congratulations, you are part of the 10%. The 10% get to live the life they want to live on their own terms, whereas the 90% gets to live the life someone else gives to them, presents to them, offers to them, right? They have to live I call it the want to, have to life. The 90% get to live the life they have to. The 10% get to live the life they want to. You get to decide. So I'm just here to give you some want to information so that you can change your life and live the life you want to, right? So the 90%, the 10%, the 90%, really quickly, that's the majority of employees in America. The 90% has a poor and middle class mindset. And then there's the 90%, and they get to live the life they have to. And then there's the 10%, that's you and me. We get to live the life we want to. Now, we may not live it immediately, but we're working towards it. And the reason that's important, the want to and have to lifestyle, and I can do a whole entire video on it. In fact, if you want me to, just put the number 5 in the comments and let me know. But you're gonna live this life one of two ways. You're gonna live the life you have to live, or you're gonna live the life that you want to live. I recommend that you get to live the life you want to live. Live where you want to live. Drive what you want to drive. Live in the house you want to live in. The neighborhood you want to stay in. Right? Eat places you want to eat. Eat the things off the menu that you enjoy the most. So, because I was thinking to myself today, I said, Sean, you only have one life here. That's it. There's no redos. You don't expire and get to come back and start it all over. Right? Unless you're Lazarus. But you ain't Lazarus and I ain't Lazarus, right? So as far as we know, on this earth, we get one life, right? And so why dream small? Why dream small if you know you only get one life on this earth? I recommend don't dream small. If you want to make $1 million a year for yourself and your family, that's a good goal. Go for it. Do it. Do it. Life's going to pass us by. They're going to put us in a box in the ground, all of us. Do it. If you want to dream big, dream big. Don't dream small. Don't dream conservative. This is the conversation I had with myself this morning, so I'm just giving you an inside peek to how my mindset works. Sean, this is your only chance, brother. This is your only life. Stop dreaming small. If you want $1 million a year, start saying it and go for it. Program yourself to aim and fire at the $1 million a year. And so I want you guys to do the same. I hope that helps somebody and blesses you. So The 90% going to live the life they have to live, because their life is not going to be governed by freedom or anything like that. Their life's going to be a prison that's governed by a paycheck. And if you're doing that now, do what you have to do. I get that. Take care of yourself and your family. But the goal is to get you from there to there, right? So you can live a life of freedom that's governed by cash flow and not a paycheck. So let's talk about the ACL real quick. I promise you I'm going to try not to keep you guys long. Hit subscribe, hit thumbs up. Also, really quickly, before I jump into this, if you are looking to start your own middleman business, that's why I'm known as the Middleman CEO. I believe that the best way, or the best type of business you can have today, is a business on your phone. Because why? You can take your phone anywhere at any time. So if you can make money on your phone, then wherever your phone can go, you can go and still make money. Make sense? So if you jump on a plane today, I'm here in Dallas. So if I jump on a plane today and go to Miami, I can still make money in Miami, right? Because my phone is my office. I call it being a middleman. Really quickly, a middleman is simply a business where you use your phone to do three things. 1, 2, 3. How many? 3. You're going to use your phone to book customers. All you're going to do is book a customer. So you get to choose an industry. By the way, if you want to see my list of favorite industries and what's the average money you can make per customer, put the word list in the comments below. But you can book a customer. This is all using your phone. You're going to book a customer. Just capture the customer's info. What's your name? What's your number? When do you want this done? Choose your industry. I'm in the moving industry. So if you guys want to do moving, that's fine. If you guys want to do another industry, home cleaning, window tinting, garage clean out, hauling, junk removal, whatever you want to do. The important thing is you don't actually do it. You don't do the work. Someone else does it. You partner with other businesses. Uber partners with people who have cars. Uber does not drive anybody around. It's you in your car who drives Uber around. You're an independent contractor for Uber. You're an ISP, independent service professional. You do the work. Uber does not. They simply find someone who needs a ride, find you who's willing to ride them around, connect you two, and get paid for the connection. You're going to do the same thing, except you're going to do it in the service industry. So you might choose website design, right? And I know what you're thinking. I don't know anything about that. You don't have to. You're not doing the work. Your job is just to book the customer. So if you choose website design, you book the customer. You get the customer's information. Hey, I need this, I need that. Okay, gotcha, done. And when do you need it by? Blah, 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 right? So you book the customer and then you take a quick deposit. Hey, in order to go ahead and get this scheduled, we require a deposit, right? And so your deposit might be, because the booking is just capturing info, but your deposit might be, I try to get you guys on average $150 per customer. Take a $150 deposit. You do that 2 times a day, not even much. You make $300 a day, $9,000 a month. Easy work. And then you dispatch the work to an ISP, just like Uber does, to an ISP who actually goes out and does the work. So Uber doesn't leave the office to drive you around. They send you to pick up that person, and then they pay you to do it. So you get paid to drive them around, not Uber. So I teach you to book, deposit, dispatch the work. I do it for the moving industry. We make about $150 per deposit. We simply book customers using the phone, take a deposit, and dispatch the work to actual movers here in Dallas who actually does the work, not me, and I don't want to. So if you want to learn how to start a middleman business, then you need to be in the free live training coming up. I have a free live training this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Please don't miss it. It's going to bless you and change your life. I give you the blueprint. All you have to do to get into it is put the word middleman in the comments below, or go to the video description and save the link for the Zoom training. So let's get into it, right? So we want to think like the 10%, not the 90%. A times C equals L. And what you don't know is, or what you may not realize, is the 90%. The reason they're in the financial position they are, most people are, and I've been there a long time and it ain't fun, is because they focus on using, so I'll tell you what these mean real quick. So A is for asset, right? So ASSET. C is for cash flow. I'm not even trying to do this, but this is a class. I'm about to teach you a class on how to change your life and buy the things you want to buy in life. I'm just going to show you what the rich do. And anybody could do this. It's just mindset. It's the things you don't know that's getting you in trouble. And worst of all, things you don't know that you don't know. So, and the L is for liability. Now, why did I put liability over here? Because a house, let's say, for instance, a house, right? Car, I could even say vacation, all right? Let's look at these three things: a house, a car, and a vacation. All right, so first thing we need to define is, what is an asset? An asset, by my definition, Sean's definition, you ready? I'll blow you away. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. Money in, asset. So just by knowing that, you should understand, based on law of polarity, that a liability is anything where money goes out of your pocket. So this, don't laugh, these are your jeans. All right? And this is your pocket. Money goes into your pocket, asset. Money goes out of your pocket, it's a liability. I had to do that. Hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, by the way. And if you guys want to be in that free live training, please don't miss out. You got to get there early. Can't let everybody in. But this is going to bless you. So an asset is anything that puts money into your pocket, whereas a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Are we good? Are you tracking? If you ain't tracking, you're lacking, okay? Don't be lacking. So an asset, again, puts money into your pocket, whereas a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. So now that we understand the difference between an asset and a liability, we understand that if the vacation, right? So when you go on vacation, let's mark it real quick, right? So when you go on vacation, does the vacation put money in your pocket, into your pocket, or does vacation take money out of your pocket? So in a nutshell, who's paying for what? Who's paying for this? Who's paying who? Does the vacation pay you, or do you pay for the vacation? You typically pay for the vacation, right? So your vacation would be a what? A liability, correct? The car that you're driving, does the car pay you each month when the car note is due? Or do you pay the car note out of your own pocket? Typically, the 90% you do. So here's another liability. I just want you to understand what an asset and liability is, and then now you know how to assign these things in your life, right? Now, here's a big one. Most people call houses assets. They say the bank told me it was an asset. My grandma said it was an asset. Sure, it might be an emotional asset, but let's look at it logically. When the mortgage or the rent is due, when the payment on the house is due, whether you rent, whether you buy, does not matter. Who gets paid? Do you pay the bank or the landlord, or do they pay you when the mortgage is due? You pay them? Okay, gotcha. So liability, right? Based on the law of asset and liability, it's another liability. I know the banks are telling you guys these are assets. It's not. Well, the banks aren't lying to you. In a way they are. They're just not telling you everything. A house is an asset. But if you pay for it out of your own pocket, for you, it's a liability. For the bank, it is an asset. So I'm not going to say the banks are lying to you. They're just not telling you everything. It is an asset. They're just not telling you whose asset it is. It's the bank's asset. By the way, if this video is blessing you, smash the thumbs up and let me know. So house, car, vacation, just use those three. It's a bunch of other things we can use. We just put it as liabilities, right? So now that we know what an asset is, we know what liabilities are. Now, what is cash flow? Cash flow is simply the way that money moves. Which way the cash is flowing. So cash flow determines whether it's an asset or a liability. That's what we did. When you pay for the vacation, where does the cash flow? Away from you or to you? Away, liability. When you buy a car, away from you or to you? Away, liability. When you buy a house, the money flows to you or away from you? Away. All right, liability. Now, really quickly, if you had a rental house and a tenant lived in it and someone paid your mortgage for you and put money in your pocket, now you have positive cash flow. It's an asset because money doesn't leave your pocket. The house makes money for you. See the difference? So, but most people don't have that situation. By the way, never buy a house with a paycheck. Got it? All right, so here we go. Now we understand cash flow. We understand what's an asset and liability, and we understand what things in our lives are assets and liabilities, right? It's probably blew some of your mind, and you're probably stumping your phone or ready to throw it out the window because some random guy on YouTube in a pink hat and glasses, handsome as heck, by the way, said that your house that you live in is a liability, right? And it is based on the law of cash flow. So cash flow determines if that thing's an asset liability. Now, so you want to buy a house, right? So because you guys are going broke, buying houses, buying cars, taking vacations. How much your vacation? $5,000. How are you going to pay for that? I'm going to put it on a credit card. Okay, now that thing's going to cost you $10,000 for the next 3 years. You're going to pay for that one vacation. That's tough, right? I'm not telling you don't do it. I'm not your financial advisor, whatever that is. But I'm just a random guy on YouTube just trying to give you some insight, right? Give you more information so you can make your own gumbo. These are all financial gumbo ingredients. I should create a channel called Financial Gumbo. If you want to hear that, put gumbo in the comments below. Also, guys, just a reminder, doing a free live training Thursday night. Please don't miss it. It's going to bless you and change your life. So, you don't want to be thinking like the 90%. You want to think like the 10%. This is mindset, by the way. When I write this up here, I'm talking about mindset, not bank account. Can't have the bank account unless you have the mindset. The way you think is the way you're going to live. Think like a poor person, you'll be poor your whole life. Worst of all, you'll pass it down to your kids. Think like a rich person, eventually at some point you'll be rich. Now, what's rich? It doesn't mean you have to do $1 million a year. I feel like if you can make $180,000 a year, you can live a good life, right? So, asset times cash flow equals liability. So, the way that you buy the house, the poor and the middle class, the 90%, they're going to use a paycheck to buy these things or bad debt or credit cards, right? All bad debt, consumer debt. The 10%, they're not going to use a paycheck to buy this. They're going to use cash flow to buy this. So here's how you buy your house, right? You ready to learn? Here's how you buy your house. You have to think about asset times cash flow equals liability. So the asset times the cash flow equals the liability, right? So now let's go through it, right? So you got asset times cash flow equals liability. Now you know that the A is for asset, the C is for cash flow. They don't teach this in school. I made this up. It helps me, so I just hope it helps you. Asset times cash flow equals liability. So now we know, right? So we know that we want to buy, let's say, for instance, because a lot of you guys go broke trying to buy a house or a car or things like that. So we'll just put a house as a liability here, right? So the asset, we still need an asset, and we haven't determined cash flow. But we do know at the end of the day, we'd like to buy a house. I always tell you guys, never buy houses with paychecks. If you notice, the rich don't buy houses with paychecks. The reason they don't is because they don't have jobs. Where are they going to get a paycheck from? They don't have jobs. So how are they buying these $2, $3, $4, $5 million homes? There lies the dilemma, right? So I'm going to give you a peek into how the rich and the wealthy think. And I'm also going to be straight up with you and tell you that we just put under contract a brand new house that we're building. We're building a brand new house, just put it under contract. It's a beautiful, amazing home here in Dallas. Now, did we buy with a paycheck? No. Why? Because that's prison. So we did not buy the house with a paycheck because, again, paycheck equals what? Prison. So we don't like to be in prison. You have a mortgage for 30 years. The only way you know how to pay for it is with a paycheck. Then you have to have a job. That ain't the worst part. The worst part is a job requires you to sell your time. Now you have no control of your time for the next 30 years. At least 40 hours a week don't belong to you. That's hard. Don't want to live that way. So the rich don't do that, right? The poor and the middle class do. That's why they're always in financial bondage. So do what we do. Create an asset. All right. So what's an example of an asset? I'll give you our example. This is our playbook. What we did, what the Shon-Jhon family did to buy our house. Here's what we did. We created a middleman business, right? So I'll just put M-B-I-Z. We created a middleman business, right? We created a middleman business in 2020. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it just says 2020. In 2020, we created a middleman business. That middleman business has grown over the past 4 years, right? It has grown so much that it has made enough cash flow. Now, you guys can do this faster because I had no one to help me. I learned on my own. You guys can have me coaching you, mentoring you, teaching you how to do this expediently, very, very quickly, without having to go through all the heartache I went through. It's easier to avoid the heartache if you know you didn't prepare for the test, to just copy off someone else's. That's networking in the world, and it's a good thing. Even though schools frown on it, it's a good thing in the world. Networking is great. So we created a middleman business in 2020 called Jumpin' Jack Movers, right? We used that moving company to book customers. I don't know if you guys can see this. My mark is going bad. To book customers, take a deposit. This is what I'll be teaching Thursday night, and then dispatch the work, all from the phone. This is what we did in 2020. We started a middleman business in 2020 to book, deposit, dispatch. That's all we do. This business grew, and then when it made enough money, we started looking at houses. So let's say you start a business. It doesn't have to be a middleman business. Your asset could be a vending machine, it could be the stock market, it could be crypto. I don't know. Whatever you choose. You can bake cookies out of your house, whatever you want to do. I'm just giving you my example of an asset and our playbook. Here's how we bought the house. We started a middleman business from the phone. Middleman business was profitable. It began to make more money. The middleman business in the first year was $77,000, and we've been up from there, right? But as an example, we knew we wanted a really nice house that was probably going to be, and for a really nice house, you're probably looking at about we'll say $3,500 a month, right? Nothing crazy. Some rents are higher than this. $3,500 a month for a beautiful new home. This is a 3,500 square foot, 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, movie theater room, loft area, beautiful balcony, open space, 24-foot ceilings in the house, windows everywhere, natural lighting everywhere, huge master bedroom, beautiful bathroom and closet. Not my closet. When you guys get married, you'll find out that closet ain't yours. You're going to be in the guest closet, hopefully. You might get pushed into the garage. So his and her vanity, kids, rooms, beautiful rooms, closets, beautiful lake view, all of this. And when the house is done next year, I'll show it all to you. But just telling you what it's going to be. And so in order for us to get this, we knew we had to make $3,500 a month to be able to pay the mortgage. But we knew we didn't need a job to do it, or we didn't want a job to do it, because that would require somebody to go to work. And if somebody has to go to work, that ain't freedom. We want to buy it in a way where we can still be free. Somebody put amen in the comments if this is blessing you. I'm preaching better than y'all amen, and come on with it. So we decided in order to get a $3,500, a job wasn't going to do it. A job was just going to, 30-year mortgage for a house requires a paycheck, which requires you to have a paycheck for 30 years. Not a good deal for us, not freedom. So how many know your boy ain't as young as he look, right? I don't want to work forever. And so, by the way, if you can guess my age, I'll give you something cool. Take a guess. And so 3,500 was about the estimate, right? And you guys don't have to be this high, or you could be higher. I'm just giving you what we went through. $3,500 mortgage for 30 years. We don't want a job to do that. That's prison. We need a free way to do it. So we need to use ACL, asset times cash flow equals liability. By the way, if you guys do this, it'll bless you and change your life. And so we decided the asset was going to be a middleman business. And then the cash flow we needed in order to grow, in order to get our liability, which was the house, would be $3,500. So once the business started making that per month, and don't get me wrong, we make more than that. And there are some students who just started in the master class who already make that in a month. So that's not hard to do, but I'm just giving you an example of what we did, okay? You can fill this in with whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you want. I'm just showing you how we bought a house. And so the middleman business created cash flow, enough cash flow to buy the house, the liability. The house is a liability, it's not an asset. It's a liability because we're going to live in it. So we have to pay for it. It's an asset if we move out, someone rent it from us and they pay for it for us. See the difference? And so, but we're going to live in it because we like our house and we don't know what we're going to do with it in the future. We might, I don't know, might give it to the kids. Don't know. $3,500, we need that as a mortgage, right? So how are we going to get this? We cannot do a job. That's not an asset. The job would be a liability. Most people are going to do it this way. Most people, right? Most people in the world, in America, are going to think this way. They're going to think a job. They're going to think the job needs to be able to make $3,500 to buy this liability, which is a house. 30-year obligation. 30 years you're going to live here to pay for this. The cost is going to be $3,500. So in order to have this house for 30 years, you need $3,500 per month for 30 years. Where are you going to get that from? A job. That requires you to trade all your time for money. No, sir. No, ma'am. Ain't happening. That's why the middle class are in the position they're in. The rich don't think that way. They want their time back. And again, this is mindset. You don't have to be rich to think this way. You can think like the 10% right now. It's going to change your life. And so we decided we don't want a job. We're not looking to buy a liability with a paycheck. That's just going to compound it and make it even worse. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a middleman business. Let that middleman business mature to $3,500 a month. Then use that money to buy the asset. I'm sorry, the liability, which is still the house. Notice the house is still a liability. The only difference is between the 90% and the 10%. The only difference between the 10% and the 90% is how they went about buying the house. The 90% decided a job and a paycheck to buy the liability was the way to go. The rich and wealthy decided, nope, going to create an asset, whether it's I'm going to invest in stocks, I'm going to invest in Bitcoin, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to sell cookies. I don't care what I do. I'm not thinking about paying for a house with a job. I'm only thinking about creating cash flow from an asset to pay for the house. The house is always the liability as long as you live in it and you pay the notes. The only difference is I created a way where the asset can actually pay for the house. The employee, in your case, is you. The employee, in my case, is the business. You don't go to work. You don't make your $3,500. You don't get your house. You lose your job. You lose your paycheck. You lose your house. Very dangerous. I lose a job. Who cares? I have an asset because you can do both. You can keep your job and start a middleman business part-time and do vending machines part-time, right? So I keep my business, keep the cash flow, and I get my house. But Sean, what happens if you lose your job? What happens if you get hurt? You hurt your leg, you hurt your hand, you can't go to work. Doesn't matter. I'm already set up. I don't have a job to pay for a house. I don't rely on a job to pay for a house. You do. And so this is financial prison. This is financial freedom. The formula, the gumbo to change your life is A times C equals L. Asset times cash flow equals liability. Get yourself an asset that creates cash flow to pay for the liability. Imagine what life be like for most of you if you learned this 5, 10, 20 years ago. Don't be mad. I didn't know this either. I learned this because I bought a house this way, the wrong way. And it hurt. Oh, baby, it hurt. And I didn't like the feeling. And so we went back and we did it differently. If this helps you, let me know in the comments. If you have a question or comments, let me know. Hit subscribe, hit thumbs up. Welcome to the channel. And for those of you who want to be in the free live training Thursday night, where I'm going to teach you how to book, deposit, and dispatch. So whether you get a house, a boat, vacation, or car, does not matter. I'm going to teach you how to use a business to do it.